Why checking your bank balance daily is becoming a surprising financial survival habit for Gen Z in the UK. Why are so many Gen Z in the UK suddenly obsessed with checking their bank balance every single day? Why has something that used to feel boring, or even stressful, become a survival skill for young people navigating the UK's cost of living crisis? There's a strange contradiction happening right now. Gen Z is the most digitally connected, financially educated generation in history, yet they are also some of the most financially anxious. They're downloading budgeting apps, watching finance TikTok, and setting up saving automations, and still struggling to build financial security. So the question is, why is something as simple as looking at your balance turning into a daily lifeline? And what does this tell us about the wider economic reality Gen Z is growing up in? To understand this shift, we need context. The economic environment facing young adults in the UK today is dramatically different from the one their parents experienced. According to the Office for National Statistics, ONS, real wages for people aged 18-29 have grown significantly slower over the past decade compared to older age groups. Meanwhile, the Bank of England 2023 reports that inflation in everyday essentials food, transport has outpaced wage growth, creating persistent financial pressure. At the same time, financial services have gone fully digital. Budget tracking, saving pots, instant spending notifications, and automated transfers are now standard features. In the Financial Lives survey by the Financial Conduct Authority (FCA), 88% of young adults reported using mobile banking weekly, compared to just 54% of over 55 seconds. This combination of economic stress plus digital tools has created a new financial behavior micro-tracking. And as we'll see next, there's a deeper emotional and economic story behind it. Imagine a 24-year-old called Jamie living in Manchester. Jamie works full-time in an entry-level administrative role, earning around £24,000 a year, which is close to the median income for people in their early 20s in the UK ONS. Every morning, before getting ready for work, Jamie opens a banking app not to make a payment, but just to look. Sometimes it's to check if the rent has left the account. Other times it's to see if there's enough remaining for the food shop or the bus pass. Jamie doesn't think of this as financial planning. It's survival admin. A few years ago, Jamie rarely opened a bank app. Today, it's as common as refreshing social media. And Jamie is not alone. Among Jamie's friends, nearly everyone checks their balance daily, not because they're irresponsible or lazy, but because they don't want to be caught off guard by a direct debit, a subscription renewal, or the rent split on payday. There's a brief sense of hope. Bills are scheduled. Saving pots get topped up. Maybe there's enough for a small treat, but by mid-month, things feel tight again. The daily balance check becomes less about curiosity and more about control in a situation where so much feels unpredictable. Jamie's routine captures something important for Gen Z. Daily banking isn't about wealth, it's about staying afloat. Reason 1. The cost of living squeeze. The first reason is simple, but heavy living costs are rising faster than incomes. According to the ONS 2023, UK consumer price inflation peaked at levels not seen in over 3 decades, with food prices alone increasing by more than 15% year-on-year at one point. For young people who spend a larger proportion of their income on essentials, this hits harder. Think about rent, varnjas, transport, groceries, phone bills, streaming subscriptions. It adds up quickly. And because Gen Z is disproportionately renting in cities with higher living costs, they feel this squeeze more intensely. This creates a kind of financial vigilance. Checking the bank balance daily isn't about anxiety alone, it's about adaptation. If fixed costs eat a large portion of pay, cash flow management becomes a daily task. It's uncomfortable to admit that financial survival requires constant monitoring, But for many young adults, that discomfort is reality, and it leads to our next reason. But rising costs are only one part of the story. Reason 2, microtransactions and subscription culture. Gen Z grew up in the era of microspending, contactless payments, tap to pay, gaming purchases, in-app services, and subscriptions. According to research by Ofcom 2022, the average young adult in the UK pays for multiple streaming or digital services each month, and many subscriptions renew silently in the background. This creates a paradox. Spending feels frictionless, but budgeting becomes harder. When money leaves your account in small chunks, you don't notice it until you're dangerously close to zero. Digital banking tools can help, but they also reveal how many small transactions happen every week. This nudges daily checking because young people don't want to wake up to an overdraft fee or decline payment. There's a mild social frustration in realizing that financial discipline isn't just about saying no to big purchases, it's about navigating a system designed to make spending invisible. Soft cliffhanger. But there's still another layer influencing daily money habits. Reason 3, financial anxiety and uncertainty. The third reason is psychological. The Bank of England, 2023, has noted that uncertainty, whether about inflation, wages, rent, or interest rates, creates financial anxiety. Gen Z entered adulthood during multiple economic shocks, a pandemic, a cost of living crisis, and rising interest rates. For previous generations, financial milestones, home ownership, car ownership, stable careers were more linear. For many Gen Z, those milestones feel either delayed or out of reach. This uncertainty drives a need for real-time awareness. It's similar to checking the weather forecast before leaving the house. You don't check because you love the forecast. You check because not checking might cause problems. Daily balance checks are a form of microcontrol in a world where big financial outcomes feel uncontrollable. It's not about paranoia, it's about reassurance. And because reassurance only lasts until the next bill arrives, the cycle repeats. However, there's also a surprising positive side to all of this. Reason 4, digital tools that reward healthy habits. Finally, digital banking features are making financial self-monitoring easier and, in some cases, genuinely empowering. Budget categories, spending notifications, saving pots, roundups, and analytics dashboards are now standard features across UK banking apps. According to the FCA, 2022, digital banking adoption among 18-24-year-olds is the highest of any age group in the UK. These tools don't magically fix systemic issues, but they do support daily habits that build financial resilience, like setting aside small amounts, tracking spending trends, or separating rent money from disposable income. To a previous generation, saving £2 a day might feel trivial, but for a young person living month to month, it's a way of creating breathing room. And that's where hope enters the picture. Digital finance doesn't eliminate financial pressure, but it gives Gen Z better tools than any generation before them. So, what does all of this actually mean for Gen Z in the UK? Economically, daily balance checking reflects the reality of living with tight margins. When wages move slowly, but living costs move quickly, cash flow becomes a daily puzzle instead of a monthly plan. Psychologically, it's a mix of anxiety and empowerment. On one hand, financial uncertainty can be draining. On the other hand, knowledge genuinely reduces stress for many people. Knowing how much you have, even if it's not much, can feel better than not knowing at all. Lifestyle-wise, it creates a culture of microfinance. Money management isn't something Gen Z does once a month with paper statements. It's something that happens in real time. On smartphones, with digital tools designed to make things visible, and socially, it changes how young people talk about money. It's no longer taboo to discuss budgeting, saving pots, or financial limits. In many friend groups, it's normal and sometimes necessary, to talk about whether you can afford to go out this week. This doesn't mean Gen Z is worse with money. If anything, it suggests the opposite. They are adapting to an economic landscape that demands constant awareness. So why has daily bank balance checking become a Gen Z survival habit in the UK? The answer isn't dramatic or political. It's systemic. Living costs are high. Wages are restrained. Subscription spending is fragmented. And financial uncertainty is widespread. Digital tools make it easier to adapt to these pressures. And so young people use them. It's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of environmental awareness. For Gen Z, money management is not a monthly event. It's an ongoing process. And checking the bank balance daily is one of the few things young adults can control in a system where much feels uncertain. There's no villain in this story. Just a generation trying to navigate financial adulthood with the tools available to them. If you're Gen Z in the UK, what's your relationship with money right now? Do you check your bank balance daily, and does it make you feel anxious, in control, or somewhere in between? Share your experience in the comments. Your perspective might be more common than you think. To ensure accuracy and transparency, the information presented in this video draws on reputable public data sources in the United Kingdom, including the Office for National Statistics (ONS), Landsinglarchesen, the Bank of England, 2023, the Financial Conduct Authority's Financial Lives Survey, 2022, and Ofcom, 2022. These institutions regularly publish credible economic and behavioral data that help us understand how people in the UK live, spend, and make financial decisions. In conclusion, daily money monitoring has become more than just a budgeting trick for young people in the UK. It's a response to rising living costs, financial uncertainty, and the desire to stay in control. Hopefully this video has given you a clearer picture of the economic pressures shaping Gen Z's financial habits today. Thanks for watching until the end. If you're Gen Z living in the UK, feel free to share your own experience in the comments. I'd love to hear your perspective. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.
Các bạn vừa theo dõi một sản phẩm của Golden Air of Hollywood. Xin chào và hẹn gặp lại bạn các video tiếp theo.